My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey y'all, it's time for my December check-in, and if all goes as planned, this will be the video that's going up on the last day of the year, the last day of 2019. I'm going to be checking in about how it was to be on a beauty budget in the last month of the year, and I'm also going to be reflecting a little bit about being on a beauty budget. And I'm also going to be reflecting a little bit about being on a beauty budget for the entire year and just get you caught up on kind of like what's been going on in my life, what's going on in my life right now, YouTube, etc., etc. You know how it goes. It always goes pretty much the same way, but it is a little bit special that it's the last month of the year. And so this is the last check-in of the year. And I believe I may have just said, my name is Hannah and this is my beauty budget for the last time. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So as always, I have my list of notes. I did want to touch base and just say that I'm pre-filming this a little bit, so I have to have this filmed before I go home for the holidays to see my family in North Carolina because I am flying home on the 31st. So again, if all has gone as planned, I'm a little bit worried about upload speeds there in rural North Carolina. I'm not sure I'll be able to get things to upload the way that I usually do. But if everything goes as planned, then this video will be going up on the day that I'm actually coming back to LA. And when I arrive back in LA, the first thing that I'm going to do, the way that I'm going to spend that day, the last day of the year, this day that you're watching this, is filming the video about my project for next year. So this is the last video I'm pre-filming, and then I'm going to be filming that one today, and then it will go up tomorrow. So my top note for the check-in says, crazy busy month with filming and other work, which pretty much sums it up. You may have noticed that I posted a video almost every day this month. I did miss one Saturday towards the beginning of the month, and that might be it. I might have managed to scrape it through. I wasn't really necessarily trying to like do Vlogmas or something. I wasn't announcing it as such, but I just wanted to try. I wanted to see. I feel like there's definitely a financial incentive during the holidays for YouTubers to post more because you just get paid more per ad that's viewed. So even if your views go down, which I think a lot of views do take a little bit of a hit during the holidays because everyone's posting so much and viewers can't possibly like watch all of it. So that's pretty normal. But even if views go down, AdSense goes up because you're just getting paid more per video. So there is a financial incentive. For me at my size, there's not really enough of a financial incentive to make it like really, really worth it to like absolutely break my back. So if it hadn't been something that was within my grasp, then I wouldn't have made myself do it. But I wanted to try it because I feel like there's another incentive which just has to do with like commitment and creativity and flow and connecting to one's audience and just like joining the party in December and just seeing what it will be like. And I, as we all know, name of the game, I really like applying constraints to myself. I really like applying myself to projects in my life, projects that sort of show me what I'm made of, projects that reveal my own metal to me, and then I can take that information and move forward. That's something I've been doing for the past couple of years, and a lot of it I've been doing publicly on YouTube. And deciding to try to post a video every day in December, almost every day, was kind of like a mini version of one of those projects. And it went well. I'm definitely not somebody who could do that all the time. Like I can't be one of those channels that posts a video every day. And depending on how next year goes, I might actually have to scale back a bit, just depending on how other projects in my life go. I'll definitely keep you up to date on that, but you can expect my content to just slow back down to a little bit more of a normal pace in January. So all of the filming and editing has made this month crazier than usual, and then my other work has not abated. I've had to prep a bunch of clothing for the clothing business and photograph it in advance so that we could keep posting new clothing for sale every Thursday, which is what we do even when I'm gone for the holidays. And I've also had some writing projects that I've had to continue to forge ahead on. So it's just been a little bit nuts. However, I have been doing better than I was doing before, just psychologically, emotionally. My mental health has been in a bit of a better place. I've kind of been going like on the upswing, but with a little bit of like the occasional dip back down, remembering the badness, like remembering how it was. It's like I'm climbing out and it keeps kind of like reaching out a tentacle and smacking me on the butt, and I'm like, stop it. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now. But that's so much better than where I was before. I really feel stronger and more capable of kind of like taking on whatever challenges 2020 will bring me. And I'm really looking forward to starting to create some more robust content in January and February of 2020 with renewed vigor. Which reminds me to say, there is some specific reconnoitering, retrospective content about my beauty budget year, the project as it existed inside of 2019, that I just haven't had time to film. I wanted to film a favorite, I actually wanted to film a favorites video. I thought about filming like the top 10 products I received in PR this year, the worst 10 products I received in PR this year. I thought about filming a video where I talk about the top 10 products that I bought this year, because I did my favorites for the first half and then my favorites for the second half, but I was thinking about combining them and doing like my all around like 5 things I'm the most glad I bought with my budget or something like that. I do want to do an end of year favorites video that's not necessarily like yearly beauty favorites, but there are just a bunch of things that I've been really tickled by lately that I wanted to put in a video, and I just didn't have time. My declutter series and my purgatory box clearing series kind of took over like the last 2 weeks of the year in terms of channel content and in terms of my filming time. So I'm probably going to place some of that content at the beginning of January. So keep an eye out for that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. People tend to really want to cram everything that refers to the year in review in the year at the end of December, but like, why shouldn't we talk about the year in review in January? I almost feel like a little bit of distance helps with clarity. So as part of what I'm hoping will be some robust January and February content, I'm hoping to do some retrospective content and just talk a little bit about the beauty budget year after it's over. Part of why I'm saying that is because I feel a little bit overwhelmed at the prospect of closing out the year fully and giving all of my commentary on the year in this video. I do have some notes. All of the rest of my notes are kind of like about how I feel about the budget right now. I just know from experience that how I feel about it now and what I'm able to say right now might not be the end of it, because there are so often things that we learn once we have a little bit of distance from something. But here's what I'll say for now. My budget worked perfectly at keeping me from backsliding, and that was its main purpose. And there were times when it could have happened so easily. Even recently, I feel like even that trip, that blighted trip, that famous trip to COS, where I spent $7 over my yearly budget, it could have been $500 over my yearly budget if I were a little bit more wishy-washy, and if I hadn't been on a budget, if I hadn't been holding myself accountable. And that could have happened several times. I particularly remember this one time when I had spent all of my budget in the month. It was sometime in the middle of the year. I don't even remember which month it was, but I was out of my budget. So I was on a tacit no buy until my budget renewed at the beginning of the following month. And I wanted to buy a hoodie at Aritzia. And I had picked out the one that I wanted. And I wanted it so badly. I wanted it in this way that made me feel like my life would end if I didn't have it. I wanted it in the way that I used to want things before my no-buy year. I let my ego and my identity get in amongst my desire for it and fuel my desire for it. Even though my muscles of not buying are strong, and the muscles of not buying kept me from actually buying it because I didn't have enough budget, so I didn't buy it, even though that was true and that's great and that was the purpose of the budget. The muscle memory of anxiety about stuff like that, and just like the black hole of wanting, and the really sick feeling about not being able to buy the thing you want, it's still there too. Those muscles still exist, and they rose up and they flexed themselves, and I had a really bad couple of days there where I would have bought that sweater. I would have overspent if I hadn't been on a budget. And if I had done that every single time scattered throughout the year that I kind of wanted to, I would have spent all my money. I wouldn't have any savings. I would probably be in credit card debt again. The budget, it saved me. It saved me from my flea-bitten self. It kept me moving forward instead of sliding backward. But the main other thing, I feel like that worked. It's great. Happy to report back that happened. But it's the sort of most obvious thing, and it's kind of just that it happened. It worked. The main other thing, and the thing that's maybe a little bit more interesting, is that being on a budget this year raised my awareness so high. It just sharpened my awareness so sharp. My awareness of what I'm buying, what I want to buy, how I feel about what I buy, just all of my buying habits in general. I see them with a hawk's eye, with an eagle's eye, I see them. It's very weird to have spent $2,400 on 90 items and to look back over the year and to look back over all of those items because I have them all on a list, and to look at all of that money and to just think about which ones I would switch back, which ones I would liquidate and turn back into money if I could, like which ones I wish I'd never have bought, which ones I don't wish I'd never bought, but I would switch them back if I could, which ones I like wish I could trade in. It's a weird feeling, especially when you look at the amount of money and what else I could have bought with that money. It's that kind of bookkeeping and that kind of seeing that has sharpened my awareness so completely. It's also a bit nuts to think about willfully bringing almost 100 new belongings into my space and paying to do that. And that's what I did this year. To be totally clear, when I say that I have a very sharp eagle eye with regards to my behavior, that doesn't mean that I have total control over it, or that I'm only going to make the best decisions from here on out, or that I've only made amazing decisions. That's not what I'm talking about. I think that there's a difference between being able to see yourself very clearly, having a sharp eye on yourself, being able to kind of unpack your recent behaviors or your past behaviors and to learn things about yourself. There's a difference between that and perfect behavior. Make no mistake, I've never claimed to have perfect behavior. I think that, I don't know if I really want to get into this, but a lot of the garbage I see thrown around about me on the internet comes from people who seem to think that I at some point have claimed to have perfect behavior, but I never have. But I have claimed, and I continue to claim, that these projects that I do and that I do publicly have really helped me to see myself better and to have the tools to slowly evolve. That is what my goal continues to be. I would say the best and most surprising discovery, who am I? I would say the best and most surprising discovery of the budget, of the beauty budget year, is the way in which it increases joy around the act of shopping. And the budget definitely increases relaxation around the act of shopping. My trip to COS, the famous trip to COS at the end of the year, is a perfect example of this. In spite of the fact that I ended up spending $7 extra, I almost feel like the fact that I allowed myself to do that is the perfect example of this. Right after my no-buy, a lot had changed. I was transformed, but I wasn't even close to being able to shop in the calm, sane, happy way. Honestly, happy, like joyful way. The way that I shopped when I went and spent the rest of my budget at COS in the middle of December. If you've seen my video about my first trip to the mall on January 1st of this year, you will know that. That story, the story time of that trip to the mall, is perfect evidence of that. My wiring had gotten upended as a result of my no-buy year, which was my goal. I wanted to kind of be able to rewire my brain. But at that time, everything was sort of unpacked and out in the open. Everything was scrambled. And I was very, very high strung around the act of shopping. I was sort of nervous. I was like hair trigger. I was afraid to spend my budget. I was afraid not to. And that lasted for a while until I kind of settled into the groove of budgeting and I got used to, and this is key, the kind of feast or famine relationship with shopping that my budget dictated. Because with budgeting, for me, came stopping and starting. And I'm saying for me, but I kind of feel like that's the way that it works with a budget. If you've got $200 to spend in a month, you spend them and then you have to stop shopping. And then when you get your budget back again, you can start spending again. And then if you run out of it, you have to stop again. So there's this kind of like shop, stop shopping. You're allowed to shop and now you're not allowed to shop anymore. You're allowed to spend and now you're not allowed to spend anymore. And for a while, that stopping and going was really hard. Really hard for the first several months of the year. It was definitely harder than the no-buy at the beginning. By the end of the no-buy, I was like, no-buy what? Like, it was so easy. By the end of the no-buy, it was just like, this is my life now. It was so fine. It was so easy not to shop. And then I moved into stopping and starting, and I was like, and this is hard. Like, the muscles were strained to their capacity. When I really wanted something and I couldn't buy it because of the constraints of my budget, it felt unjust. And that was something that I hadn't really experienced since the very beginning of my no-buy year. During my no-buy, whenever I wanted something, I was like, I'm not allowed to buy it because I'm in rehab. I'm too effed up. I'm genuinely not allowed to do it. And that was a really good reason. That was like a fair, clean, excellent reason and a reason to which it was very easy for me to subscribe. And that was true during my no-buy year, even if I technically had the money. So even after I paid off my credit card debt, and if I had just gotten paid or had some kind of like windfall or something, if there was like money in my bank account, I still was very clearly able to say to myself, no, girl, you're still not right in the head with shopping. So even though you technically have the money, you're not allowed to buy this thing because you're in the middle of this project. You're in rehab. This year, the reason was never that good. I mean, it was good, and I stuck to it. I subscribed to the reasons still, but they were just a little bit softer of reasons. So the reason that I couldn't buy a thing this year was always because you've run out of budget and it's not the first of the month yet, so the budget hasn't rolled over, so you're not allowed to buy the thing yet because of these rules you've set for yourself about what you're allowed to spend when. That was always the reason. Or another reason would be, if you buy this thing, then you won't be able to buy that other thing, according to the rules of your budget. So it was very often a situation of like, you have the money, I would have the money in my bank account, but I wouldn't have the budget in my budget. And that was the reason I wasn't allowed to buy the thing or to buy another thing. Those reasons they feel weaker to me than my original bone deep reasons for sticking to my no buy. And they are a little bit weaker. They're a little bit less serious. This project was a little bit less serious. And whenever the old, ugly, desperate to keep shopping, buying Hannah reared her head, then the reasons that I couldn't break my budget, they seemed not so great to her. Like, she scoffed at them. She did not like them. She pushed against them. And I never let her win. What I'm trying to say is that this year I had to obey my rules and agree with my reasons, even though on some level underneath it all, I kind of felt like it was less serious. I kind of felt like I had less reason to do so. So I'm proud that I made it through. It was hard. And I'm proud that I made it through and that I didn't break my budget at all until last week. And when I did that, I only broke it to the tune of $7. I'm proud that I made it through. For all intents and purposes, it was a smash hit success. And I learned so much about my relationship with the things that I buy and my way of behaving with relation to the things that I buy. I couldn't have gathered that information during my no-buy year because I wasn't buying anything during my no-buy year. So the budget was an amazing way, in addition to all of the rest, it was an amazing way to study myself this year. And all of the lessons that I learned from it, I will be taking forward. During my no-buy year, the muscle that I strengthened for myself was just the simple muscle of resisting buying the thing when you want it. So during the no-buy year, it was all about telling myself, you want the thing, but you're not going to buy it. And this year with my budget, the muscle that I've strengthened is the one that I use to tell myself, you could technically buy it, but you can't actually afford it. There is a difference between having the money to buy something and genuinely being able to afford that thing. And that difference used to be very abstract for me. And it was really, really easy for the old, ugly, shopping obsessed Hannah to convince me that having the money for it was enough of a reason to allow myself to buy it, and that I didn't have to worry about whether I could actually afford the thing in the long run. And my budget is a way of showing myself what I can actually afford so that in the moment I can make no mistake. Now I feel like the knowledge that even though I have money in my savings and that I might have money in my checking account that I could technically use to buy a thing, the knowledge that that doesn't necessarily mean that I can afford that thing, I feel like that's become encoded into my life and encoded into my behavior. And that is, to me, that is the success of the year. In terms of just my relationship with shopping and spending and the way I think about budgeting, there's a bunch of other emotional fallout that has been pretty spectacular, but I covered that in my video called My No Buy Year 1 year later that should have gone up before this one. But I do really feel like a lot of that emotional fallout was from my no buy year. That was from like my no buy year plus. It was like my no buy year going forward. What I'm talking about in this video is the successes of budgeting. And I really do feel like budgeting has taught me to say to myself, even though you could buy it because you have the money right now, you're not a person who can afford that thing, and so therefore you won't buy it. And that is it. As I said, there might be more on this next year. I might have more epiphanies about the way that budgeting has affected my life. I might structure a couple of more videos around it and frame them differently and present some more information. But this is what I've got for you today. I've been filming so much over the past couple days in preparation for leaving. I feel like I'm this close to losing my voice, and it is time for me to bow out and start packing for my holiday trip and start doing some editing and snuggling with Joe and Sadie. And that's it. Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is so exciting. Happy New Year's Eve. I'm just getting it through my head that on the day that I post this, it will be New Year's Eve day. We are about to enter the roaring 20s. I feel like it's going to be a good one. All of you who have been subscribed to me this year, who have been following my journey, commenting, sending me notes, just generally supporting me, I cannot thank you enough. I can't believe how much YouTube has changed my life and what it's done for me. It's kind of snuck up on me. I don't know if I was really expecting it, and a lot of it has just been like holding on for dear life, like riding the wave. But all in all, when I back up and I look at what it's been like, it's spectacular. Being connected to so many amazing people is an extraordinary gift, and it's mind-boggling the way in which technology has allowed us to do this for each other and be this for each other, be here for each other. So thank you so much for being here for me and letting me be here for you. And you know what I'm going to say, and I hope that you'll take it seriously this time, if not any other time. Please remember to do whatever you need to do to take extra good care of yourself, the absolute best care of yourself in this coming year, so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work, which is really important, whatever it is, your work in the world.